Welcome to AskFOI, where we answer the most common questions we receive here at the Friends of Israel on prophecy, Israel, and the Bible. I have Bruce Scott with me today. Welcome, Bruce.
Shalom, Steve.
Bruce, today I'd like to ask you about two of Israel's holidays, and they sound very much like our holidays in some ways, but there are some differences. And it would be Israel's Memorial Day and Israel's Independence Day. Now, we can start with Memorial Day, how they are similar and different. But I know one thing that's true of our Memorial Day is for a lot of Americans, it's a day off. Not all Americans are observing the memorial of their fallen veterans. It's the first barbecue of the year. So let's start with Memorial Day. How are they the same and how are they different in Israel?
Well, the Memorial Day is called Yom Hazikaron. It is a very solemn day for the Jewish people in Israel because it does commemorate their fallen soldiers. So it is a day where they actually go to the cemeteries, they plant flags, they remember their loved ones. It's a very solemn day, and it is observed by most Israelis. And so it's a very um, important day for them because of how they've had to fight for their independence. They've had to fight in a number of different wars, and even today they have fallen soldiers. So Yom HaZikaron, it means the day of remembrance is their Memorial Day.
So it's safe to say for Israelis, this is a much more solemn, observant day than it is here in the United States.
Yes, that would be one major distinction. It's not that people in the United States don't also go and observe it and remember the fallen, but in Israel, uh, it's such a small country that uh, people are family there, really, as a nation. So it's very important.
And turning to Israel's Independence Day, if you could give us a little of the history as well as how they celebrate.
Sure. The Independence Day is Yom Ha'atzmaut, the Day of Independence. So it goes back to when Israel received their independence from the British. And what happened was before Israel became a independent state, the Jewish people have always lived in the area known as modern day Israel, going all the way back to biblical days. There's always been some Jewish presence there. But after the Romans destroyed the temple in AD 70, after the Bar Kokhba revolt in 132 to 135 AD, Jewish people were scattered around the world. And even though there's been a small presence there, they didn't really start coming back to the land until the late 1880s, especially under the inspiration and leadership of a man by the name of Theodor Herzl, who became known as the father of Zionism, this movement to bring Jewish people back to the land of Zion, their ancient homeland. So Jewish people continued to come back in large numbers. And finally, after World War I, the Ottoman Empire was carved up and by the powers that won that global war, and they through the League of Nations gave a mandate to the British Empire of this area that they called Palestine. There's never been a state of Palestine. There's only been a region name, and that's Palestine. So they gave them the mandate to take care of this. Well, after World War II, the British had enough of taking charge of their mandate of this area. And so they decided they wanted to give it up. And so in November of 1947, the United Nations voted to carve up this area once again to make really a second Palestinian state. The first one became known as the country of Jordan, and carve up what was left for a Jewish state to be a second Palestinian state and a smaller Jewish state. And so the United Nations voted on that. The resolution passed. The Jewish people were so happy and they were exuberant over this decision that now they were going to have a state of their own. But unfortunately, the Arabs who lived in the area said no, no partition plan, no Jewish state, no more Jewish immigration. So on May 14th, 1948, the provincial government of Israel declared their independence. And the next day, May 15th, is when they were attacked and had to fight their War of Independence, which eventually they were able to survive and win. So ever since March or May 14th, 1948, Israel has celebrated their independence. It's like our July 4th. So they celebrate it with um, parades, and uh, they have a lighting of 12 torches representing the 12 tribes of Israel. They have a special celebration on Mount Herzl where Theodore Herzl, the father of Zionism, is buried. They'll have picnics, they'll have barbecues, and of course, they'll have fireworks. And the day after, they will have more celebrations. And one interesting celebration that they have is the International Bible Competition. And they'll also have some flyovers by military planes. So it's their July 4th, their Independence Day, and they celebrate it with great fervor. And in fact, in the synagogue, one of the things that they pray is, may it be thy will, speaking to God, that as we have been deemed worthy to witness the beginning of redemption, so also may we be deemed worthy to hear the shofar announcing the Messiah speedily in our days.
Thank you, Bruce. This was really insightful, and it's great to have this information on two holidays in Israel that may sound very similar to ours, but they're observing in different ways. And especially with the Israel Independence Day, a completely different event. And just how you brought out it's family there. It's a small country, so they are feeling many of these things in much deeper ways because it's not spread out over 300 plus million people, which I think is an important point for us to remember the size of Israel. Thank you, Bruce. This was really insightful. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Steve.